Сегодня мы собрались в лаборатории механургии,
Today we're
чтобы
gathered in a
узнать,
Mehanurgia laboratory
что такое
to
механургия
find out what
и
Mehanurgia is all
как
about and how it can be of use in
ей можно
medicine.
воспользоваться в
What
медицине.
is Mehanurgia?
Ну что такое
It is a
механургия?
scientific method
Это
that uses the force of gravity
научно-технический
for
способ
medicinal,
использования силы
therapeutic
гравитации в
purposes,
лечебных целях,
rehabilitation, and
реабилитационных
prevention.
и
A look
профилактических.
at our
Если
patient subjects
посмотреть
who have
на
graciously
наших
agreed to participate in the survey, and one
пациентов,
would not
беспокойных,
fail to
которые
notice the
любезно
deformation of their
согласились
skeletons,
участвовать
which
в
prevents them from
съемке,
functioning
мы
normally, hence the significance
заметим,
of
что
Mehanurgia, to help transform deformed skeletons
которые
into a normal
мешает
state.
им нормально
How
функционировать.
does this normal
И
state come
вот
to be?
задача
This
механургии
comes to be by changing
помочь
or arranging the
костному
displacement of the
скелету
bone structures relative to the vector
измениться
of gravitational forces.
до нормального
If we
состояния. Как
assist in the
возникает это
local
нормальное
manuация
состояние?
of forces,
Возникает за
then the
счет
intended result can be attained, which is a restored,
изменения,
reconstructed
репозиции
structure of the
костного
skeleton and of the skeletal
относительно
muscle at
вектора
the
силы
same time.
гравитации. Если
Restructuring of the
мы еще
musculoskeletal
помогаем
system as
локально
a whole, including
воздействуем силу
cartilages,
мануации,
ligaments,
то
tendons,
тогда
and thus
достигается
creating conditions
однозначно
for the normal
результат.
functioning of the organism.
Структуры опорно-двигательного аппарата, включая
How
хрящи,
is this
связки,
realized? It
сухожилия,
goes thus.
и тем самым
The
мы
patient is placed on a bed with the
создаем
lower limbs, the
для
feet,
организма
fixed to the
условия
bed in a
нормального
somewhat raised
функционирования.
position and then
Как это
orientated in the
делается?
direction of the
Это
gravitational
делается
field,
так.
as this allows its influence on the
Наложен,
liquid makeup of the body,
размещается
which is the most mobile
пациент,
part. Blood
фиксирует
is the
себе
liquid
определенное
structure of an
место
organism,
и
consisting of uniform
должен
elements of blood
ориентироваться в
and
гравитационном
orientating the
поле.
body upside down. Distal
Это
sections,
позволяет
legs, upper limbs,
воздействовать
the
на
intestines,
органы
are above the horizontal line,
верхней
which at
конечности,
this point
кишечник,
increases the
надходит,
fluidity of
получается
the liquid
текучесть
structure of the
жидкости
body.
организма. Вот на
This
этом
principle
примере
is built around the
построено
dynamic orientation of the body
воздействие
in the direction of
динамической
the
ориентации
gravitational field.
организма в гравитационном поле. Когда организм ориентирован
Now, it is
вниз
when the
головой,
body is orientated
а ноги
upside down with the
зафиксированы,
legs
в
in a
этот
fixed
момент
position
происходит
that
чудесное
these miraculous
изменение
changes
организма.
occur
Ну,
in the body.
представляете, что
It so happens that between
между
bones,
костями
the
связочный
ligamentous
аппарат
apparatus
начинает
begins to
вращаться.
stretch, and in the
И
articulation surfaces as well, bones
суставы в
begin to change their
сочленении
position. This is called
кости
the
начинают
repositioning of the skeletal
изменять
bones.
положение. Это называется
What does this lead to? And this leads to the fact that between the vertebrae, when we're not in an upright position, but in the upside down position,
когда мы
decompression
в
occurs,
положении находимся,
reducing pressure on the roots of the spinal cord
в
and thus
инфракраниальном
eliminating
положении
pain.
возникает декомпрессия
Now, this
мышц,
gives rise to a lot of movements, which in
уменьшается
turn increases blood flow towards the heart, such that the chambers of the heart are so filled that the heart even gets the heart to reach blood, which was deposited in the lower limbs.
активное
And then
перемещение
what do we get by all of this? With
крови
that, we thereby eliminate chronic circulatory insufficiency
камеры сердца
because the blood is
становится
actively
настолько
being
полной,
circulated,
что
oxygenated, and returned to the bloodstream.
получает
By improving the
недостаточную
oxygenation
кровь,
of
которая
tissues,
депонировалась
cellular structures
в нижних
actively agitate the lymph,
клетках,
cleaning up the intercellular liquid, and all of these together create a dynamic effect inside the body. Now, to bring about these miraculous changes to the body, however, there is need of a special equipment, which is the bed for the massage and manual therapy. Now, this special equipment is manufactured by the Abukhov State Plant, and in the practice of Mehanurgia is exactly what is needed. It also has been hailed as a tremendous scientific invention. Now, the table is, or the bed is controlled by the computer or by a computer, which has the ability of creating different angles of inclinations, turns, speed, and at the same time fits into the rhythm of care for patients, and as well allows for manual interference.
скорости движения. И в то же время
The
это
bed is raised
укладывается
above the
в
floor, thereby having the option to rotate it around its own axis, and can as well be suspended to such a degree that the patient hangs vertically, inducing the full stretching of ligaments in the intercostal joints. Now, this dynamic orientation affords its use in massage techniques, manual osteopathic techniques, but they have a specificity because the body is orientated upside down. It already suggests the introduction of new techniques that are not related to the horizontal position of the body on the couch of Hippocrates, but in particular in the position of the legs facing upward and the head downwards. What advantage comes of these? Now, it allows for the superposition of the influence of the local manuation forces as well as the force of gravity, and thus we work more effectively with the hands. A doctor can as well locally identify pathological areas right in their hotbed, or as the case is, center of infection. What is important is that the instance the body is in a dynamic orientation, every structure, every cell responds to the changing position of the body in the direction of the gravitational field, hereby stimulating processes, movement of nerve impulses from the periphery to the central nervous system and from the cerebral cortex to the periphery. Tasks are as varied as the different diseases, specific to diagnosis made as well as states or conditions of patients. These equipment can help seriously ill patients. For example, those who are in intensive care, post-surgery patients, trauma patients, etc. Patients in the emergency ward lie, as a rule, on functional beds with scarcely any mobility. It doesn't change position as much as it should, thus making the person sedentary, which in terms of its clinical implication poses a risk for the patient. However, this proposed equipment has the highest degree of mobility almost in any direction, a very important factor in increasing the fluidity of blood. Increased blood flow increases the survival of the organism, and this applies not only to adults but also to children. A special feature of this equipment includes its functionality in the case of a baby born prematurely. Of course, this requires adapting the equipment for gynecological obstetric clinics, the clinic's intensive care ward. Fundamentally, to say the least, the dynamic orientation this equipment affords is of huge importance in clinical surgical procedures, orthopedic, obstetric, trauma, and so on, not to even mention cardiology. Hot flashes, heat flushes life blood. It seemed to me that I'm an hourglass that I have my blood poured from one side of the body to another. Pumps out, flows down, vital force rushes up and down like an hourglass. The senses say it is the most positive feeling because it is as though your blood is strolling all over you, so to speak, and generally comparing notes as to what was before the session. What was once obscured before the session, incomprehensible, however, becomes clear after the session. Energy renewed and warmed up feet like a battery recharged, ready to leave again. It's first rate, top notch. It feels extremely good. What is commendable is that the technique allows feedback of all the structures of the body, summing up the impact in every structure of the body of the human or the man, as the case may be. And the most valuable thing is that feeling of a surge of strength, sensation of freshness, emotion, energy, and all the feeling of I am as fit as a fiddle, I am healthy.